Guess what? You have the confidence inside of you already to achieve any musical goal that you want, including auditioning. So, how do you hone your confidence? Well, my friend, that is with the Confident Musician's Audition Guide. This guide is to get you from the practice room to on the stage for your auditions. We talk about everything, including planning your practice, that's in Chapter 1, working with accompanists in Chapter 3, getting into the zone at auditions, that's in Chapter 5. Chapter 2 is all about mental practice, setting up mock auditions, and basically everything about mock auditions in Chapter 4, and auditioners, which is scattered throughout the whole guide, and a load more. Seriously, this 43-page guide is my baby. I have poured my heart and soul into this to make sure it is exactly what you need for your auditions. So whether you are just about to go into your auditions, thinking about how you are going to start auditioning, or just curious about how auditioning works, this guide is for you. Let's be honest, the auditioning process might be a short process, but the effects of it can be life-changing. So invest in you, and let's make this the audition season of confidence. Let's get you auditioning with confidence. Check out the show notes for the link to your copy, or visit confidentmusicianing.com. Ask any musician, even the most famous musicians, the most successful musicians, we have all felt a lack of motivation at some point, over and over sometimes. Hello and welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am a British American oboist studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, literally my dream school. And it took me a long way to get there. I applied and auditioned for 12 schools in 3 different countries. It was a lot of hard work, but oh my gosh, so worth it. I want you to have the confidence to work hard in achieving your goals. So come with me as we go on this journey together. So sit down, pull up a chair, take a seat, or if you're on the go, welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Welcome back to this cozy corner of the internet that is this podcast. Today we are talking about lacking motivation. Let's get into it because, let's be honest, it's a topic that we don't talk about as much as we should, I think. So every musician feels like this. Every musician feels like this. It is so true. Ask any musician, even the most famous musicians, the most successful musicians, we have all felt a lack of motivation at some point, over and over sometimes. So it can come in many different places, whether you feel like you have lost the spark in that practice, or maybe you're just super duper duper tired of it. That is completely okay. I recently fell a little ill and I couldn't practice, and that was something that I felt like I just did not feel up to it. And that's one way to lose motivation. You might not be ill. Sometimes you might just be really tired or just not be feeling up to it, and that's perfectly okay as well. If you feel like you need a rest or a practice break, we have episode 7, which is Embracing the Pause, 3 crucial lessons from my musical break. And we also have the episode from last week's episode, so it's literally the one before this one. It is called Coming Back from a Musical Break, Here's 3 Things to Start Off Right. So episode 7 is an episode for getting in that musical break if you need one. And then the last episode that came out on November 5th, is for things to start off right. So how to start back up if you have just finished a musical break. So 2 great episodes. Both of those will be in the show notes for you. So if that's something that you feel like you should listen to, or maybe you want to know more about, those are there for you. So in this episode, we are going to be talking about 3 things to help you get that motivation back. Let's say you've lost it. You feel like, I need to practice, but I don't want to. Let's get it back. So we're going to be diving into 3 different things to help you get that motivation back. The thing at Confident Musicianing is It is that my goal is to provide you with the resources that you need to flourish, to achieve, or work towards your goals. And so that's my goal in confident musicianing. So here are 3 different things for you to look at, for you to do, to help you get that motivation back. The first thing is the roundup. So I think, it is so important to be inspired by other people. So important to be inspired by other people. I have put together a roundup of inspiring things just for you. So that is in the show notes, and that is from fun Instagram things I saw to other just tidbits and things to help you get inspired, because sometimes that's what you need. You just need to see other musicians at work, or maybe you need something else that's exciting to get you into that practice zone. So that is a roundup for you to be inspired. The next thing is, it's a project that I've been doing and I think it's super cool, and I hope that you find it super cool as well. I was thinking about the idea of motivation, and I realized that I realized that it's helpful when we are studying. It can be helpful to have someone else there with us. Maybe not studying the same thing, but just being in that room, in the same room, it can help us focus so much more. And I thought, why don't we do that with practicing? So I'm doing a bit of an experiment, and that is, when I am practicing, I am putting a camera in front of me, and I am just practicing in front of a camera, and I am putting that up on the internet. So I know that sounds kind of silly, but I think it's helpful because it's helpful to me, and I think it's helpful to you as well. I have been getting a bit of feedback on that. And so that's something that I think is something that I am doing to help accountability. When I started music school a few months ago, the idea of motivation was so important to me, and the idea of accountability as well. So this is kind of how I'm doing that. So if you think that this will help you with motivation, or if you're just interested in watching me practice or practicing with me, seeing what I'm working on as a music school student, that is on YouTube. So that is something to look at. It is in the show notes as well. You can literally just put me on a laptop, on a phone, whatever device you want to use, put me in the corner, turn the sound down, turn it off if that's even more helpful, to just have the visuals. And that is just a way to help us keep each other accountable and stay focused in our practicing. So that is also in the show notes for you. The last thing is, and this is more of a thing to do rather than a thing to a thing that I am providing for you, but it's something that I think we should talk about, and that is going to the symphony. I recently went to the Royal Scottish National Orchestra's performance of Mahler 2, and I also recently went to their performance of Sibelius 7, and both of those performances were absolutely mind-blowing, so good, and I was able to, when I came out of the theater, when I finished going to the symphony, I realized how inspired I was to just go into the practice room and practice. And so I think that that's something that is really helpful as well. Seeing professional orchestras, seeing professional musicians in that orchestra, even if it's just them setting up, you can see them setting up on stage and stuff like that. That can be motivational too, especially if that's what you want to do and you're like, look, that's my goal, I want to get there, and then you're inspired to practice. It can be so motivational. So I invite you to go to your local orchestra's concerts, whatever they are. Just go and have a good time, and maybe if you want to make a thing out of it, get dressed up, or not get dressed up if that's not something you want to do. Do it how you want to do it so that you can be inspired at the end of it. Because let's be honest, going to the symphony is inspirational. For us as musicians, it is so important. So I invite you to do that wherever your local orchestra is. whatever it is, just go and go to the symphony because it is so helpful. Or go to the opera if that's your thing, or the ballet, whatever it is. Go, just make a thing out of it and get inspired. All right, that is about it for these 3 things. Let's do a bit of a recap. We have the roundup. The roundup is all about like all the fun things that you can see to get inspired. So fun Instagram reels, other tidbits, other things that I've packed in there so you can see. The second thing is an idea that I've had that I think is pretty cool, which is practicing with me in real time. Literally, I am just like putting a camera up while I practice, and that camera has you because if you're watching it, that's where you are, and you can just practice with me and we can just keep each other accountable, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. So if that's something you're into, check out the show notes. And the last thing is going to the symphony. Going to the symphony is so important because it can help you be so inspired. All right. And if you are thinking, you're listening to me and you're thinking, these are pretty good, cool things, then, and maybe you want to have more notice of these things before you listen to a podcast episode, you can get emails from me that tell you all about these things as I am doing them, as they are coming out, to have these things already before I talk about them in the podcast. So if that's something that you are into, you can get on the email list. You can get, there are I put so much stuff out with the emails, so you can get free things, guides, cheat sheets, workbooks. You can get, I talk about the podcast episodes, about blog posts, just kind of what I'm doing, guides that I have created for you as well. All of these things are in emails that can go out to you. So if that's something you're into, check the show notes. There is a sign up for that as well. All right, that is about it for this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was a bit of a cozy episode. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure you follow the podcast or subscribe or whatever, because this is going on different platforms. So whatever the platform is for you, make sure you do show some love. I'd be so grateful. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, take care. Bye-bye.